Okay, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Colwant Sander. I'm the CFO of Vision Marine Technologies, and we're here to present the company. The first slide or next slide, as you've seen many of these. We're going to pause here for a few seconds while you try and read the small print. And we're going to go on the next slide. So Vision Marine Technologies, what's our mission? Our mission is to transform the boating experience through electric outboard engines. That's what we do. That's our core business, and that's why we went IPO'd. Next slide then is the actual market size. The market size is split between two sectors. There's the boat engine market, which is about $12 billion, and then there's a rental market, which is about $5 billion. And we'll go into each one separately. And the other important aspect of our business is that we are an ESG provider. We actually help companies meet their ESG needs. And as you can see, from gas to electric, ownership to membership, and new hulls to recycle the hulls, which we actually do produce as well. So early adopters, we're in the early adopters to early majority phase. We're a first mover advantage in a rapidly growing electric boat market, which I've already said, at $12 billion. And it's increasing on a cumulative annual growth rate of about 12.9%. We have a clear path to increasing revenue with the announcement of its partnership with Group Veneto, which we'll go into in a minute. Highly proprietary first mover IP, poised to capitalize on the substantial move to green energy. Asset-light manufacturing to scale production, which I'll go into later, with better total cost of ownership when compared to ICE, internal combustion engines. And we have multiple revenue sources from e-commerce sales of our electric boats to our e-motion sales to large boat manufacturers and to our rental operations. And finally, we like to say that we are a technology company, not just a boat company. So what's our 5 key strategies to win? We broke the electric boat speed record currently last 2 weekends ago. It was sitting at 109 miles per hour, and we broke it to 116. 116, that's 116. And the 109, by the way, was our own record as well. We're partners with Linamar to actually scale production. We have the right leadership in terms of the CEO. He's a former boat racer. Those things that do 150 miles per hour plus. And as I've already mentioned about our scale-up, we actually got our production partner. We have one of the most important things about electric outboard engines is not just the engine itself, it's the actual battery technology that goes behind it. And I'll go into that a little bit later. And then we have unique partnerships with our manufacturing boat manufacturers, I should say. Going on to the next one. 4 key ways that we're executing against our strategy is innovation. We actually encourage our employees to think outside the box. We are customer focused. We're very obsessive about that. Accountability in terms of delivering on time when we say we're going to deliver. And finally, we have a passion to win, which we already mentioned to you guys in terms of our CEO, who's a former boat racer. And we have an open sort of contract with other engine manufacturers that we would like to race around the world, not just to demonstrate the fact that we're going to win, but to also to actually demonstrate our technology to boat manufacturers. This is our e-motion system. What you see here is what you get. Basically, that includes the battery pack, the engine management system, and the electric management and the electric outboard engine. And there's no specific requirements for charging. Everything is on board, so you can use onshore power, or you can use your 110 outlet at home. It charges overnight. And the other thing that we actually do that the boating industry never had, and we took away from the electric vehicle market, was actually producing telematics for the use of the boats, which currently the manufacturers don't know what the user does. Oops, hang on. Here we go. What's our competitive landscape? So we have Evoy and Torqeedo. As you can see, 180 horsepower is the most powerful one. That's ours, e-motion. And in terms of cost, we're about $90,000 to $100,000. And Evoy and Torqeedo is significantly more expensive than us. In terms of the total cost of ownership, which I actually mentioned earlier, We compared a typical traditional 180 horsepower engine to our 180E, and the cost per month is about $4,000, where ours is just under $3,000. And over a 6-year ownership, we save about $90,000. Most importantly, though, there's no carbon output from our engine. We have significant barriers to entry. We've been working on this for about the last 10 years or so. We spent about $10 million in R&D, 25,000 hours of R&D development, and 10,000 hours of actual testing. And that testing is not just with us, it's with our boat manufacturers that we're actually marketing our product with. As I said before, in terms of scalability, we actually partnered with McLaren Engineering, which is a subsidiary of Linamar, and they were previously producing, I think, engines for Suzuki, and they wanted to go into the electric outboard engine market. Timing for us was fantastic, and so we decided to partner with them. They have the ability to produce up to 18,000 outboard engines a year, and that's one of the reasons why the larger boat manufacturers are actually talking to us. In terms of the battery technology, we partnered with Neogy, which is a French outfit, and Octillion, which is based in the US. One of the big differences between electric vehicles and electric boats is the power requirements. In an electric vehicle, you initially need the power, and then you ease off on the power, whereas in electric boats, you need constant power all the time. And as soon as you throttle back, the actual boat slows down. So the heating requirements or the cooling requirements are completely different. And these guys together can produce up to about 10,000 batteries per day. Again, scalability is there for us. In terms of our management team then, we have Alexandre Mongeon, who's our CEO and founder, and as I said, offshore boat racer. And we have Xavier Montague, who is our CTO and actually COO. He's actually worked with a number of large OEMs in the car industry in Europe. And then we have Carter Murray, who joined us about 3 months ago, and he's got a record for delivering growth at scale. In terms of our first sales, we actually did make a deal with Group Beneteau, and I'll go into them who they are in a minute. And this is one of their products. This is an actual boat that they sell today. We actually concentrate on the 175 to 200 horsepower market, and that represents about 27% of the total engine outboard market. And in terms of boat sizes, between 18 to 28 feet. That's our sweet spot for us, and that's what we're targeting. In terms of the pontoons, which to my surprise, actually, there's over 60,000 pontoons sold each year. And if you've been watching our Instagram and social media posts, you'll know who we've been talking to, especially if you're in the boat industry. We can't make any announcements today until we have actual contracts in hand. But there, again, that market suits us because it's in the 18 to 28 feet market, 175 to 200 horsepower. So it's our sweet spot as well. And this is Group Beneteau. Group Beneteau has approximately 8 brands. Their first brand that they're actually launching their electric boat is called the Four Winds, and it's a 22E, which means 22 feet. They initially placed 25 engine orders, but we expect that to be increased as they start to deliver to their dealerships. In terms of the clear path to generating sales, we've now gone past the research and development phase, integration and testing with boat manufacturers, OEM dealer sale, and then we're now on to on-site activation with dealer. And what that means for us is that we anticipate, and I hate as CFO to say this, but this is what we're thinking, that we will be cash flow positive sometime in 2024. In terms of the market size, we think that if we win 1% of the outboard engine market, it'll represent approximately $3 per earnings per share. And our current price is just below $4. In 2020, just an example of what the engine market is in units, 330,000 outboard engines were sold just in North America, and 1,000 powertrains represents, to us, 100 million US in sales. The other part of our business that we have is the rental business, and that allows us to actually demonstrate our technology to customers on an hourly basis. And we have our first flagship store, which we have in Newport in Lido Village. We have 35 boats there, approximately generating $4 million in revenue, and it's a highly profitable operation at 35% margin. What we intend to do with that side of the business, we're actually thinking that we're going to franchise it out. We're going to open up 2 more stores. One we've already opened up in Ventura County, which we made the announcement. And there's another store that we're opening up in Florida. And then after that, we'll be franchising the actual operation out to across the world. And that's what we're working towards right now. That will enable us to concentrate on our e-motion technology, which is our core business. And this is more of a profit-generating business for us. And this just goes more into the franchise model than what we're actually thinking of doing. In terms of a tipping point, here we are then. So we're 2020 to 2023. We've poured a lot of money into R&D, and we've actually demonstrated our product to the large boat manufacturers. 2024, we'll be actually delivering our first e-motion systems in the back end of 2023, so in the next Q4. And then in 2024 is when we anticipate going cash flow positive. And then from that point onwards, we do think that we're going to have 2 profitable and growing divisions. That means e-motion and rental, and who knows where we're going to go from there. Again, my CFO hat comes on then. Oh, hang on, something's gone wrong here. Sorry guys, technical issues. I tried. Not moving. There you go. Perfect. Thank you. Okay, so just a little bit about Vision Marine itself. So we're on the Nasdaq, listed under the ticker symbol VMAR, Victor Mike Alpha Romeo. Our current market cap is approximately $45 million. We have no debt. We're highly profitable rental division. And our first first revenue from our powertrains is coming from in the back end of 2023. 30% of our ownership is from directors and officers, and we anticipate going cash flow positive in 2024. In terms of our market structure, we have 11.5 million shares outstanding with options of 1.1 million and warrants of 1.5 million. So that gives us a fully diluted share structure of about 14.2 million. And as I said, from a fully diluted perspective, 28% is owned by directors, and that's our cash position as of today. So finally, then I'd like to leave you with our first mover advantage. Just a reminder that we are the one and only, as far as we're concerned right now, production-ready outboard engine manufacturer. There's lots of other people who say they have engines, but they haven't proven it, and then they're certainly not production-ready. We have a clear path to increase in revenue with the announcement of its partnership with Group Beneteau. There'll be other announcements with large boat manufacturers in the near future. Highly proprietary first mover IP. We're poised to capitalize on the substantial move to green energy, as I've mentioned before. Asset-light production to scale production, Better total cost of ownership from an ownership perspective when compared to internal combustion engines. And what I mean by that, just to reiterate, no fumes, less noise, cost of electricity is significantly less than the cost of petrol or diesel, for instance. And again, overnight charging, whereas you try hunting for a fill-up station in the harbor, it's not as easy as you think. And then we have multiple revenue sources from e-commerce, electric boat sales, direct sales to OEMs of our e-motion powertrains, and then our rental division. And we're finally a technology company. It's a little bit sooner than I anticipated, but any questions? Wow, was that good that no questions? Yes. So we have 4 wins sorry. the questioner asked, do we have both operating already? And the answer is yes. So we have rental division, Lido, Newport Village. You can go there today. You can actually go and rent a boat, go around the harbour, go and have something to eat, right? Using our boats. And then our eMotion powertrain is put on the back of Four Winds, which is a 22E. And you can go to the Four Winds website today and you can order whatever configurator that they have on there. Okay. Yes.
Just following up on the franchise model, which is interesting. Can you talk more about, like, are you targeting a specific type of customer that would rent the boats, or is it for anybody? And then also, can you just expand on a bit more on, it sounds like you're going to put one in Florida. Like, where are there certain markets around the country or globally that you think would be more interested in taking, like, electric boat rentals, or just if you could expand on that?
Absolutely. So one of the things that we've realized with Lido Village is one of the reasons why it's so successful is because it's a high traffic area. There's very good restaurants around there. And one of the attractions that we've been told is our rental operation that brings foot traffic to the area itself. So what we're trying to find and trying to encourage franchisees is to look for places like that. So Ventura County is our second store that we've opened. We've just opened it up in April of this year. We're slowly increasing the footprint in terms of our boats. I think we had 5 initially. We're going to increase that to 10. And then our target revenue per boat is $100,000 US per year, per boat. That's our target revenue. At Lido Village, we're at about $150,000 US per year. Okay. Sorry, just want to finish off. So what we're looking around the world is similar situations and high traffic areas where we think is going to be a success for the franchisee and then obviously for us as well.
2 related questions. One is, like, are there downsides to owning a boat that is powered by electricity? Like I think you mentioned read somewhere that's like 3.5 hours of driving time. Is that less? Like, what are the downsides? If I'm thinking about
so everybody mentions that to us in terms of, it's called range anxiety, right?
Yeah.
Everybody has that with electric cars and so on, and it's the same thing with electric boats. The issue is Freedom Boat Club did a survey on, if you don't know who Freedom Boat Club are, they own 200 rental operations around North America, and they looked at the average usage by their members, and that's about 12 nautical miles. Our boats can go to about 50 nautical miles at cruise speed of about 20 knots. So the range anxiety goes away straight away because most people don't use their boats to the maximum range. Most people use it to go out, a couple of hours there, a couple of hours back, have a good time, and then come back. And that's it.
Right. And then the other question is sounds like 10 million of CapEx isn't that much. Like, you take some of the larger boat companies, Brunswick, it's a $5 billion market cap company. Like, anyway, that's the question. You mentioned there are other competitors. Isn't there a lot of, like, if it's a clearly better product, like for autos, like, why is 10 million that much? Why is it such a small cap company being the lead? Like, why?
It's interesting because I think it's the same process that electric cars Tesla had when it first started. It was one of the reasons why Tesla took so long was because they were competing against other car providers. With us, we're an engine provider. We're not really competing against other boat manufacturers. We're just competing against other engine providers. There's a movement in the industry now to move towards a more sustainable and ESG-friendly propulsion system, and this is one way of doing it. And so we're talking to the guys you mentioned, for instance. We've been testing with them for years, right? If you see our Instagram, like I said, I can't mention the names, but if you see our Instagram, you know who we're testing with. And they all say the same thing. You guys are so far ahead. And because of our relationship with Linamar, it brings us to that point where large engine manufacturers are no longer frightened of doing business with small cap companies because we're there already.
So taking your idea of that you are working with the big ones, what are going to be your strategy in the next 10, 15 years? If you are that successful, you wanted to be sold to the big ones, or what?
I think what you're asking here is, Are we going to be around in terms of as a standalone company, or are we going to be purchased? I don't know. I mean, look, if we hit our powertrain numbers, you can imagine for yourself, right? Our target next year is to get to cash flow positive. We need to get to about 100 powertrains sold to get to cash flow positive, and then from that point onwards, we'll see where we go.
You got two very separate businesses. One's a franchise direct to retail model. The other one is the selling the motor. Where do you see the growth the next 5 years? Is the franchise direct to retail or the selling motor to the...
As I mentioned, our business is eMotion powertrains. That's where the growth is. Our franchising is really to lift the heavy lifting from us and just let the franchisees do the work, right? So they're two separate businesses, but our core business is eMotion powertrain. And that's where the growth is going to be for us.
Because also there's different skill sets.
Absolutely, it's a different skill set. And we have a dedicated staff just doing the rental operation. They have no cross-pollination when it comes to doing the eMotion powertrain.
Thank you.
Well, I think that's it from my end. Bruce Nurse is our IR person. He should be on here somewhere. And so if you need any more questions asked, please just single us out. We have our one-on-one meetings tomorrow. And thank you for listening.